Welcome to Macabre Miscellanea, a curated collection of creepy curiosities. There is a genre of man who tells himself he is nothing like the people who came before him. He has cataloged their failures. He has drawn a line, clearly, deliberately, and placed himself on the correct side of it. He calls this discipline. What he hasn't accounted for is that the line is not fixed. It moves slowly in his direction, and something very old and very patient has been helping it along. Tonight's tale, Winged Shadow. Turn down the lights. Let's begin.
Day 1, 6:02 p.m. The report I'm filing tonight is for Colin Stowe. Third time through the system. Third time the paperwork comes back wrong. Witness can't remember. Chain of custody. The usual machinery of inconvenience that Stowe has learned to play like an instrument. I write the case number in the closed column, and I don't throw the pen. That's called discipline. The precinct at end of shift smells like burnt coffee and fluorescent light, the specific frequency that makes everyone look like they're already dead. I've worked here long enough that I find it comfortable, which probably means something I've decided not to look at. Marla is packing up across the bullpen, not looking at me, which means she knows about the dismissal and has decided that looking at me right now is a thing she doesn't want to do. That's fine. I don't want to talk about it either. I finish the report, log it, stare at the closed column a second longer than I need to. Then I do the thing Callahan taught me. First year, after a case got tossed, and I made the mistake of asking him how he lived with it. He didn't philosophize. Callahan was not a man who philosophized. He leaned back in his chair and gave me a workflow. "You want to survive this job?" he'd said. "Stop overthinking. Break it down. 4 steps. Charge, measure, seal, purge. Charge, identify the problem. Measure, build the case. Seal, close it properly. Purge, take the threat off the street. 4 steps. No ambiguity. No sitting in the gap between what the law allows and what the situation requires. I use it the way other people use breathing exercises. Case gets complicated, I run the 4 steps. Case gets personal, I run them faster. It's a coping mechanism, wearing a workflow's clothes, which is exactly how Callahan would have packaged it, useful enough that you don't question the container. Callahan had the best clearance rate in the department for 11 years. He was also, eventually, the reason we have a specific clause in the conduct manual about what the department calls purge behavior. He didn't get arrested, he got retired. There's a difference, apparently, if you know the right people and the right people owe you enough. Back then, purge meant something specific that nobody wrote down. A suspected murderer didn't show up to work on Monday, or ever. A suspected thief slipped in the shower and broke their arm. A possible rapist found he couldn't use a urinal standing up anymore. The bad guy stopped doing bad things. No jury required, no waiting. Clean, efficient, deniable. Nobody calls it that anymore. But the word stayed. I'm not Callahan. I have more discipline. I'm halfway to the door when I see him. Colin Stowe, hands in his hoodie pockets, getting walked out like he's checking out of a hotel. He doesn't look stressed. He looks practiced, like he's done it enough times that the anxiety burned off somewhere around the 3rd or 4th dismissal, and what's left is muscle memory and a smile he keeps ready. The desk sergeant shrugs when he sees me looking.
DA declined. Witness can't remember. Chain of custody on the narcotics.
He says it the way people report weather.
You know the drill.
I know the drill. Stowe catches my eye on his way to the door.
Detective Hale?
He says, pleasant, the way you're pleasant to someone you've beaten twice and intend to beat again.
Busy night?
I follow him out. Not chasing, just walking in the same direction, through the door, into the narrow corridor between the building and the parking structure, where the cameras cover the entrance and the exit and nothing in between. Stowe knows where the gaps are. So do I. He slows down when he realizes I'm still behind him, which means he knew this was a possibility and decided to find out. I put my hand on his shoulder and walk him into the space between a support column and the wall. Steady, unhurried, the pressure of someone who has done this before and never needed to rush. There's a nerve in the wrist. You press it correctly, and the pain is specific and clean and leaves nothing a camera can find or a doctor can date. Callahan showed me. First year. Stowe's smile doesn't disappear. It just gets honest. You keep beating cases, I say, quiet. But you're still the same thing. His breathing goes shallow.
You can't.
I'm not doing anything, I say. The lie is clean because my hand is calm. I'm just measuring. The word tastes wrong the second it leaves my mouth. Stowe's eyes go unguarded for a moment. Just a moment. And then the calculation comes back. Slower than usual.
You're gonna lose your job over this.
He says.
Over me.
Probably, I say. I ease off. Step back. Give him the space. He straightens his sleeve. Rolls his shoulder. Gets the practiced quality back into his face.
You don't scare me, Hale.
He says. He walks to his car. I go back inside and run the 4 steps in my head. Clean and fast. Charge, measure, seal, purge. The last one sits in my chest, the way it always sits. Not quite done. Not quite right. A word that means something I won't say out loud in a corridor with no cameras. I head for the door. Day 1, 6:15 p.m. Klein catches me. She's IA, which means she exists in the building the way a carbon monoxide detector exists in a house. Present, monitoring, waiting for something to go wrong. Mid-40s, tidy, a folder tucked under her arm like a sermon she's been saving for the right congregation.
Hale?
I stop. If I don't stop, she'll write fled on a form somewhere and mean it. She flips the folder open without looking at it, eyes on me the whole time.
Colin Stowe walked out of this building 40 minutes ago.
She says.
3rd dismissal. Your report cites procedural error.
She pauses.
You followed him out.
Are you accusing me of something?
Not yet.
She says.
I'm taking notes.
She turns a page.
We serve the law.
She says, calm as a weather report.
Our role is not to judge.
I've heard that sentence in training. In roll call. On the laminated poster by the vending machine that someone keeps defacing and facilities keeps replacing. It's supposed to be reassuring. It's supposed to keep you in your lane. I obey the law, I say. Klein closes the folder. She smiles the way people smile when they know something you don't and have decided to let the calendar handle it.
Good night, Detective.
She goes back through the door. I stand in the cold for a second before I notice my jaw is tight. Day 1, 10:47 p.m. The call comes in at 10:47, which is late enough that the city has stopped pretending. Chapel District, possible staging, which is the department's way of saying the body looks arranged without committing to the word ritual in writing. Because ritual makes the brass nervous, and nervous brass makes everyone's life worse. The Chapel District sits on the edge of the downtown grid, like an old bruise the city keeps covering with foundation. Half the buildings are condemned, half are. Pending redevelopment, which means they've been pending since before I made detective. Crime scene tape flutters against a storefront that used to sell candles and novelty crosses. I park behind the cruisers and badge through. Marla is inside. She sees me and exhales the specific way people exhale when they've decided not to say the thing they're thinking. Her eyes flick to my chest. Body cam. I let her look. The air hits first. Damp plaster, old wax, the copper undertone that reaches your stomach before your brain catches up. The victim is positioned, not dumped. Arms out, head tilted, like someone made a decision about aesthetics. On the floor beneath them, ash lines. Precise, deliberate, a circle with geometry nested inside it. My eyes go straight to the gap. One section of the circle is open, a small wedge where the line doesn't close. My brain supplies the next step before I can stop it. Seal. The missing step. I crouch at the edge of the circle and look at the victim properly for the first time. The pressure behind my eyes does something I don't have a word for. Not a thought, not a feeling. A delivery, clean and certain and not mine. The way a notification arrives on a locked screen. Unworthy. I clamp down on it hard enough that my jaw aches. I don't know what that was or where it came from. I file it and leave it there.
Don't,
Marla says. I stop with my glove an inch above the line. The urge to touch it is immediate and stupid, like checking a stove you can already feel from 3 feet away. I'm not contaminating anything, I say.
Your face is contaminating things.
She says, the closest Marla gets to humor on a scene. She points with her pen, not her finger. Near the open gap, a black feather sits in a small notch in the ash, not dropped, presented, placed with the kind of patience that has a reason I can't name yet. I bag it, seal it, log it at 22:47. Outside, by my car, I glance at the body cam out of habit. The counter reads a number I stare at a second too long. It's probably nothing. I can't say why it isn't. I put the evidence bag on the passenger seat and drive back to the precinct. On the interstate, I reach into my coat for my phone. My fingers close around something else. Soft, wrong textured. I pull it out. The feather. I look at the evidence bag on the seat beside me. Sealed, logged, sitting exactly where I left it. Flat, empty. The light ahead goes red. I stop. I don't move until the car behind me honks. Day 1, 12:44 a.m. Back at the precinct, I sit in the lot for 4 minutes with the engine off. On the drive back, my phone had been awake on the seat. An address on the screen, Chapel District, different block, no sender, no thread. And I'd made myself ignore it until I was parked. I'm done ignoring it. I go inside. I log the evidence bag at 0:44, 2 hours after collection, which is a gap I'll have to account for if anyone asks. Nobody asks tonight. I write, delay in processing due to active scene management in the notes field, the kind of sentence that's technically true and completely dishonest. And I hit submit before I think about it longer. Then I sit at my desk and look at my phone. The address is still there. Chapel District. Different block from the scene. No sender, no thread, no timestamp. Just the message sitting on a screen that was already awake when I reached for it on the interstate. Sitting there the way water sits in a glass. Patient, not pretending to be anything other than what it is. I should screenshot it and send it to Eli. I should report an anonymous tip and let someone with a cleaner file work it. I should go home. I think about Callahan. Not the conduct manual version, the actual man. A precinct break room, a bad case, a 28-year-old trying not to show how angry he was. Callahan had a way of carrying himself that made the room feel like it had better posture. He gave me the 4 steps like they were a gift. Maybe they were. Maybe that's the problem. He would have gone to the address. I text Eli the address. Then I call him. He picks up on the second ring. I tell him about the anonymous message, the open building, the feeling coming off the doorway that I don't have a clean word for. There's a pause on his end.
Go home,
He says.
Don't go in there alone without knowing what you're walking into. Come in tomorrow and we'll run the address.
He pauses.
And Grant, Klein would love for you to walk through that door right now. She's been building a file. Don't give her the page she's missing.
I look at the message a moment longer.
Grant,
I heard you, I say. I get in the car. I drive home. I lie on my bed with my coat still on and stare at the ceiling until the dark outside goes grey, running the 4 steps in my head on a loop that doesn't close. Day 2, 8:15 M. Eli is already in the lab when I get there, which is not surprising. Eli exists in the lab the way mold exists in old buildings, quietly, completely, as though the alternative was never seriously considered. He turns his monitor when I sit down. Body cam footage, timestamp running, and then 17 seconds of grey. Not static, not corrupted. Grey. The specific grey of a file with intact metadata and nothing inside it.
that's yours.
He says, I know.
It's not a glitch. Glitches corrupt. This was wiped, cleanly, using your credentials while your body cam was still active and logging.
I look at the grey frames. 17 seconds I was crouching near the ash, too close to something I wasn't supposed to touch. Someone accessed my account, I say. Eli's expression doesn't change, which is how I know he doesn't believe that.
Sure.
He says. He pulls up the next tab, property records for the building from the anonymous address. He scrolls to the ownership line. Shell Company, a name that sounds generated. Meridian Holdings Group, LLC. He clicks the parent filing.
Faust and Sons.
He says. Never heard of them.
Commercial real estate, some hospitality. Quiet in the way that costs money.
He scrolls down.
Registered agent keeps showing up on church filings. Archdiocese adjacent.
Something tightens in my chest that I don't name. The first scene was in a building on the same block. Eli nods.
Also Faust and Sons. Different shell, same parent.
I sit with that. A staging operation running out of condemned buildings owned by a company that doesn't want to be found. Tied to the church by paperwork thin enough to deny. The body cam gap. The feather that moved. The open padlock sitting in the hasp like a courtesy. The address message, I say. The anonymous one.
No sender, no metadata, no carrier trace.
Eli closes the tab.
Whoever sent it knew your number and knew how to make it look like it came from nowhere.
I look at the grey frames on his screen. What do we actually know about the staging, the ash, the geometry? Eli pulls up the crime scene photos, the circle, the nested angles, the feather in its notch. He studies them the way Eli studies things, methodically, without flinching. Then, carefully.
I think we need someone who knows what they're looking at.
Meaning what? Meaning I've been running these symbols for 3 hours, and everything that comes back is either academic or... He pauses.
Devotional.
He pulls up a faculty page. Harrow. Religious history. Retired field consultant. The kind of CV that has a gap in the middle where the interesting years went.
He's worked with the department before.
Eli says.
Unusual cases.
I look at Harrow's photo. A man who has argued too many times about things he can't prove and carries it in his face. Fine, I say. Eli picks up the phone before I can change my mind. Day 2, 10:30 a.m. Harrow's office smells like dust and old ink and coffee that stopped being about enjoyment sometime in the previous decade. Books stacked in barricades, papers pinned to corkboard in patterns that mean something to him. A lamp with a warm bulb trying very hard to make the room feel like a place where things get resolved. It doesn't work. He looks at the crime scene photos for a long time without speaking. Eli lets him. I don't have Eli's patience, so I study the cork board instead. Printed pages, handwritten notes, photocopies of manuscript pages in languages I don't read, surrounding woodcut illustrations I wish I didn't understand. Finally, Harrow sets the photos down and takes his glasses off and cleans them.
"Where did you find these?"
He says.
Chapel District, condemned buildings.
He nods slowly, like that confirms something he didn't want confirmed.
"How many scenes?"
2 that we know of.
He puts the glasses back on.
"The geometry inside the circle. This isn't decorative. It's not someone copying something they found online.
He taps the nested angles.
This syntax appears in maybe a dozen documented sources across 4 centuries. Coptic fragments, a Flemish manuscript from the 1400s, some Jesuit field notes from colonial Mexico that the Vatican has never formally acknowledged. It's not a tradition anyone is actively teaching.
He pauses.
Which means whoever built these circles either had access to primary sources or..."
He stops.
Or what?
Eli says. Harrow picks up one of the photos and holds it at an angle, studying the closure gap.
"The sequence is charge, measure, seal, purge,"
he says.
"In the sources, it's procedural syntax, a sentence structure, not a ritual in the theatrical sense, more like a legal instrument. You identify the subject, assess them, close the record, execute the judgment."
The pressure behind my eyes arrives quietly, the way weather arrives before you can name it. I know that sequence, I say. Harrow looks at me.
"How?"
Department mantra. My training officer. I watch his face. Stress management. Something moves behind his expression that he doesn't let out. He sets the photo down carefully.
"The sources describe a figure,"
he says.
"Apocryphal. You won't find this in anything canonical. An assessor, appointed to measure, not to judge. The distinction mattered. Measurement is neutral. Judgment requires a standard, and the figure's standard..."
He pauses.
"Was strict. It found very few worthy. It called mercy a loophole."
Eli leans forward.
Worthy of what?
"Continuation,"
Harrow says simply.
"The sources aren't specific. They're also not consistent. Some treat it as a cautionary tale about zeal. Some treat it as history."
He opens his desk drawer and pulls out a thin folder. Photocopied pages, margins dense with his own handwriting.
"There are documented groups across several centuries who adopted the syntax. A Flemish lay brotherhood in the 1400s, a Mexican confraternity in the 1600s, a small American congregation in the 1890s that disbanded under..."
He pauses.
"Circumstances."
He slides the folder across.
Whether these groups believed they were imitating the figure, invoking it, or serving it directly depends on which account you read."
So it could be a cult, I say. Someone following a tradition.
"It could be,"
Harrow says. Or a copycat. Someone who found the source material.
"Also possible."
Or... I stop. Harrow leans forward slightly. He was waiting for that one. He looks at me steadily.
"I'm a historian. I deal in documentation and interpretation. I'm not going to tell you what I think you're dealing with, detective, because I don't know, and because the answer the documentation points toward is one that no one in your position would find useful."
He closes the folder.
"What I can tell you is that every documented instance of this syntax includes one consistent element across all sources, all centuries, all groups."
He taps the closure gap in the photo.
"The circle cannot execute without a human witness, willing, someone who attests to the measure and closes the record of their own volition.
He looks up.
Whatever is running this, person, group, or otherwise, it cannot finish without a human yes.
The room is quiet for a moment.
Why a human?
Eli says. Harrow is quiet, a beat too long.
The sources suggest the figure lost the right to complete the sentence itself.
He says carefully.
That it can measure, it cannot purge, not without
He pauses.
external validation.
I look at the closure gap in the photo. The small wedge of missing ash. My brain supplying the next step the way it always does. Seal. How does it select the witness, I say. Harrow folds his hands.
The sources describe a predisposition, someone who already believes the fourth step is necessary, someone who has decided in some quiet internal place that the law and justice are not always the same thing and that the gap between them is theirs to manage.
He looks at me with the careful neutrality of a man who has drawn a conclusion and chosen not to say it.
Someone who has already done the measuring. They just haven't been given a circle yet.
I don't say anything. Eli doesn't look at me. We leave 20 minutes later with Harrow's folder and a silence that has its own weather. On the sidewalk, Eli stops.
Charge, measure, seal, purge?
He says. Not a question. Callahan gave it to me, I say. First year. Eli is quiet for a moment.
Where did Callahan get it?
I don't have an answer for that. The pressure behind my eyes pushes once, gently, like a reminder. Day 2. 2:15 p.m. Klein's office is smaller than it should be for the amount of authority she exercises in it. 2 chairs across from her desk, both slightly lower than hers, which is either a coincidence or isn't. The other, IA officer, sits against the wall with a notepad, writing things down in the careful way people write things down when they want you to know they're writing things down. Klein opens the folder.
The body cam gap.
She says.
17 seconds, clean wipe, intact metadata, your credentials.
Someone accessed my account, I say.
We looked into that. No external access logged, no remote session. The wipe originated from your device while you were on scene.
She turns a page.
You were crouching near the ash circle at the time the footage goes gray.
I don't say anything. She turns another page.
The feather. Collected at 22:47, booked at 0:44, 2-hour gap.
She looks up.
Your notes say active scene management.
It was a busy night.
It was.
She agrees pleasantly.
2 scenes, which brings me to the second address.
She slides a printed page across the desk. The anonymous message, screenshotted. My phone, my thread. The address sitting there with no sender and no timestamp.
You texted this to your lab contact at 12:51 a.m. You reported it to no one else.
I was going to follow up in the morning.
You did. You went to the lab instead of briefing your supervisor.
She folds her hands.
Detective, I want to be straightforward with you. The evidence file for the first scene, the full file, not just the body cam, shows 7 entries with intact metadata and blank content. Not deleted, blank. The system logs show your credentials on everyone.
She pauses.
That's not a gap. That's a pattern.
The pressure behind my eyes is steady and warm, and I hate it. I didn't wipe anything, I say.
Then something is using your account as an instrument.
She says, and the word instrument lands so close to what Eli said that I feel it in my back teeth.
Either way, the paper trail runs through you.
She closes the folder.
Do not go back to the Chapel District until I say otherwise.
Is that an order?
It's advice, but I'll put it in writing if you need me to.
The other officer keeps writing. Day 2, 3:30 p.m. Eli is waiting outside the lab doors, pretending to check his phone. He reads my face and doesn't ask how it went.
She told you not to go back.
He says. Yep.
And you're going to.
I don't answer. Silence is not perjury. Inside, he pulls up the monitor. The grey frames again, but he's been working while I was in Klein's office. Evidence file entries laid alongside the body cam timeline. 7 blank entries, each one corresponding to a moment I was within 2 feet of the circle. Not touching it, just near it.
It's not random corruption,
Eli says.
Every entry that would show the circle clearly, the feather placement, the geometry, gone. The rest of the file is intact. Whoever is managing this knows evidence procedure well enough to be surgical. They're not destroying the file, they're editing it.
I look at the grey blocks. 7 of them. Using my credentials.
Using your proximity. You were the closest body at the relevant moments. Someone in that chain has access to department systems and knew how to leverage your presence on scene.
He pulls up the Faust & Sons filing again. The registered agent. The archdiocese adjacent name.
These buildings don't prep themselves. The circles, the victims, the staging, that's logistics, planning. More than one person.
I think about the feather. Tweezers and patience careful. The victims, I say. What connects them? Eli pulls up the file, and I stop him before he gets there. I know the first one, I say. Eli looks at me. Case from 8 months ago. Walked on a chain of custody issue. I look at the name on the screen. I knew when I saw him at the scene. I didn't say anything. Eli is very still. Then he scrolls to the second victim. Still in the hospital. Still not talking. I recognize that name too. I watch Eli work. The methodical way he cross-references. The specific patience of a man who trusts the process, even when the process is pointing somewhere he doesn't want to go. The pressure behind my eyes stirs, quiet and deliberate, worthy. It arrives with the same clean certainty as the first scene. Not my assessment, not my voice. A filing notation about a man doing everything right in a situation with no right answers. I look away from Eli and say nothing about it. But I understand now that it goes both ways. It isn't only finding fault. It's sorting. Everyone who passes close enough gets measured whether they know it or not. The pressure has been running since the first scene. It's been using my eyes. I sit with that for a moment. The pressure doesn't care that I'm sitting with it.
Both yours,
Eli says quietly. Both mine, I say. He looks at me the way Eli looks at things he's already finished thinking through.
How long were you going to sit on that?
I don't answer. So someone built a list, my walked cases, my open files, my name on the paperwork. Someone who knows the department well enough to pull records and clean evidence and send anonymous messages to a specific detective's personal number. That's not a cult in a condemned building. That's an organization. The pressure behind my eyes is steady and warm, and I don't tell Eli about it. My phone buzzes on the desk. We both look at it.
Don't,
Eli says. The buzz comes again. Not a call. A message. I can feel it through the desk surface like a pulse that doesn't belong to the building.
If you answer it, you're giving them what they want,
Eli says.
Another yes. Another step they didn't have to force.
I look at the phone. I look at the grey blocks on the monitor. I look at the 2 case files with my name on them and the open gap in the ash circle that my brain keeps trying to close. The phone goes still. I pick it up. Turn it over. The screen is already awake. An address, Chapel District, a 3rd building. And below it, 1 line. He's there. Day 2, 11:47 p.m. The 3rd building is 2 blocks from the 1st, which means whoever is running logistics in the Chapel District has a radius, and we're inside it. Eli drives. I look at the address on my phone and don't think about the fact that I answered it. The building is a former dry cleaner, the kind of storefront that closed sometime in the previous decade and never got repurposed because the neighborhood stopped having ideas. The padlock is open. Same courtesy as before. I look at Eli. He looks at the padlock. We don't say anything about it. Inside, same smell. Damp plaster, old wax, copper underneath. Same geometry on the floor, same precision, same nested angles in the ash. The circle is complete this time, all the way around. Except for the closure gap, the same small wedge of missing ash in the same position. The victim is alive. He's bound at the wrists and ankles with zip ties, seated inside the circle, head down. When my flashlight hits him, he flinches and looks up, and I feel the room shift the way it did in Harrow's office. A pressure change, a recalibration, a sensation I can't name cleanly. Colin Stowe. He looks at me with the particular expression of a man whose luck has just made a complicated turn.
Hale?
He says, like we ran into each other at the precinct. The first victim was mine. The second was mine. Now Stowe. Third name on a list I didn't know I was making until it was already finished. I go around the circle, careful, shoes on bare concrete. I crouch beside him and start on the zip ties. He watches my hands. You're going to tell me what this is, I say.
I don't know what this is. Someone reached out, said they had something for me. Product, I thought, or information worth paying for?
He looks at the ash line an inch from his knee.
I came here and woke up inside that.
The last zip tie comes free. His hands drop into his lap. He rubs his wrists but doesn't move to stand. And I notice it a half second before I understand it. He's tried already. Whatever the circle is doing, Stowe isn't leaving on his own. Eli's flashlight sweeps the far wall. Stops. I look up. The shadow sits where the wall meets the ceiling. Not a person shadow, not the cast of a pipe or a beam. Something with angles that don't match the room. Wing-shaped negative space, the suggestion of geometry. The idea of symmetry run through something that stopped being interested in beauty a long time ago. It doesn't move. It doesn't need to. The room has already decided to include it. Stowe sees it. The calculation behind his eyes stops completely, for the first time in the years I've known him.
What is that?
He says. Don't look at it, I say. He looks away with the speed of someone who didn't need to be told twice. Day 2, 11:58 p.m. What are you? I say. The shadow doesn't answer in a voice. It answers in meaning, dense and settled, the way old buildings hold cold.
I serve.
That's not an answer. Serve who?
The law.
Not Klein's, not mine. Whose? The pause carries something close to offense.
His.
Eli's breath catches. I don't look at him. You mean God, I say, and my mouth goes dry, committing to it.
I stood in light. I was appointed to measure, not to sentence, not to purge.
Then what happened? A colder pressure moves through the room.
I measured too strictly. I found too few worthy. I called mercy a loophole. That was my fall. I was cast down. The work remained.
Eli's voice is barely there.
You kept doing it.
I obey. I complete. I correct.
Tell that to the bodies, I say. The shadow shifts closer, and the air near it goes absence cold. Warmth revoked, not just absent.
Assessment is not judgment.
The words arrive calm, offended, like I've accused a clerk of murder, and it wants to correct the form. You sure? I say. Because the people in those circles don't look assessed. They look sentenced.
The measurement is valid.
Valid according to what standard? The shadow doesn't answer that. It doesn't need to. I already know the answer because I've been applying the same standard for 20 years and calling it instinct. Eli's voice comes in sharp.
Grant, we need to move.
Keep the light on it, I say.
That's not how light works.
He says. And the absurdity of it almost breaks something in my chest that I don't have room to examine right now. I know. Keep it on anyway. The shadow's attention shifts. I feel it the way you feel a pressure change. Not a sound, not a sight. Just a recalibration of the room.
Look at him.
I look at Stowe properly for the first time tonight, and the pressure delivers its verdict before I can stop it.
Unworthy.
The same clean certainty as the first scene, the same delivery that isn't mine, a filing notation from a system that has been sorting everyone in my proximity since the night I crouched near that first ash circle. And the worst part, the part I sit with in the space between one breath and the next, is that it doesn't feel wrong. Stowe catches my expression. The practiced quality flickers.
Whatever you're thinking,
He says.
don't.
The shadow's attention presses on me, warm, approving, and Eli steps between us without thinking about it, just places himself there. The shadow's focus slides off me and onto Eli.
He is clean.
Eli goes pale.
He is precise. He can seal without desire.
No, I say immediately. Not him. The shadow waits. It doesn't argue. It's already showing me the options the way a form shows you boxes.
Legitimacy is required. A witness completes.
My phone buzzes against my thigh. I don't take it out. I already know what it says. You want a witness, I say. You take it from the one you've been grooming. The shadow's presence shifts. Curious, interested. A system recognizing a compatible component.
You offer yourself.
I don't offer, I say. I decide. Eli grabs my sleeve.
If you do this, it gets what it wants. You become the instrument.
His hand on my sleeve isn't steady.
You knew both victims and sat on it. You drove to that address at 1 in the morning. You've been running their steps since year 1 and calling them yours.
His voice stays level.
You know exactly how you got into this room, Grant. Don't pretend closing that circle is something different.
I look at him.
You're not Callahan.
He says. The pressure behind my eyes spikes. Sharp and sudden, like something doesn't appreciate the name in this room. I look at Stowe, at the fear on his face that's already starting to recalculate. At Eli, at my own hands, at the open gap in the ash 6 inches from my shoe. I've been telling myself for 20 years that I'm not Callahan, that I have more discipline, that the difference between us is the line I won't cross. But Callahan crossed it for the same reason I'm standing here. The same 4 steps. The same gap between the law and the thing the law won't do. The same quiet certainty that said, someone has to, and meant it. The difference between me and Callahan isn't the line. It's just that I haven't crossed it yet. Eli is still watching me. Not begging. Not ordering. Just there. The shadow waits with the patience of a sentence that knows it's going to be finished. I step towards the open gap. Eli's hand tightens on my sleeve.
Grant?
I know, I say. And I do. That's the whole problem. I raise my palm over the closure mark. My hand doesn't shake. That's the worst part. Stowe's voice strips down to nothing practiced.
You can't. You'll lose your badge, your job, they'll put you away.
He says it like it's the worst thing that could happen to a man. I attest, I say. The phrase tastes like paperwork and sin. I witness, I recognize the measure. Eli makes a sound like I've kicked him, and I affirm the consequence, I say. Stowe screams. It's the first honest sound I've ever heard from him. I bring my palm down. Heat bites hard. A thin burn notch stamps across my palm in the shape of the closure wedge. Not bleeding, not charred, filed. The circle tightens. Not with light, but with definition. Like it becomes real enough to matter. Stowe's body goes rigid. Once, just once, like the world clicked. End process. Then he goes slack. No gore, no spectacle, just absence. I stare at what I've done until my stomach lurches hard enough I taste acid. For a moment I'm just a man in a basement. Then the relief hits. Clean. Instant. Shameful. And the worst part is how fast I let it become procedure. How easy it is to call it right if I keep my eyes on the steps and not the cost. The shadow collapses inward, pulled toward the circle like gravity finally remembered it. For a fraction of a second it looks almost human. An outline, the suggestion of a face inside the dark. No eyes, just the place where eyes should be, and the certainty of being assessed.
You are recognized.
Not a threat. A status update. The pressure behind my eyes doesn't lift. It settles, like a new default setting. Eli grabs my arm.
We have to go.
I don't argue. My palm burns, and the burn doesn't feel like pain. It feels like ownership. Day 3, 12:06 RM. We leave without sirens, without radios, without permission. The street hits too loud, wind scraping trash along the curb, a dog somewhere, distant cars like the city is still pretending. Eli doesn't speak until we're half a block from the building. Then he stops under a street lamp and looks at me like he's seeing a stranger wearing my face.
You killed him,
he says. My mouth tries to build something, a justification, a report, a version of events that fits in a sentence Eli can live with. Nothing fits. I look down at my palm. The closure mark sits there, pale and permanent.
Don't,
Eli says, voice raw.
Don't look at it like it's proof.
It is proof, I say, and I hear how wrong that sounds the moment it lands. Eli laughs once, sharp, broken, nothing funny in it.
Proof for who, Grant? Your phone? Because it won't hold up anywhere else.
He's right. He's always right when it matters. That's why the shadow wanted him. My phone buzzes. I don't hesitate. I look. Same blank sender. Same Chapel District formatting. 2 lines. Case closed. Next. Charge. I lock the screen. Eli is watching me. He sees my face when I read it and takes one step back. Not dramatic, not a scene. Just the specific distance of a man recalibrating how close he wants to stand. Eli, I say. He flinches at his name like it's also a commitment point. We saved you, I try. Eli's eyes shine.
You saved me,
he says.
and you...
He can't finish the sentence. Neither can I. We walk to the car in silence, and the silence feels like a sentence waiting for punctuation. Day 3. 9/11. IM. Stowe's body gets found. Not because we call it in, not because we do the right thing, because somebody always finds what the city wants found. The news calls it a homicide with ritual elements. IA calls it an unauthorized absence and a chain of custody nightmare. Klein calls me in before noon because of course she does. The evidence system still shows my uploads as blank grey blocks. The body cam gap still sits there like a missing tooth. My contemporaneous notes exist, but read like an alibi written by a man who already knows he's going to be blamed anyway. Klein stares at my hands. I keep my right palm flat on my thigh. The burn notch is there, pale, permanent, the closure wedge filed into skin like a receipt the building decided to keep a copy of.
We serve the law,
She says.
we don't judge.
I nod like I agree. It's the same sentence she's been saying since the beginning. It means the same thing it always meant. The difference is that now I know exactly how many ways a man can nod at a sentence without meaning any of them. I leave her office with my job dangling by a thread and something else sitting settled and warm behind my eyes. In the hallway, a uniform walks past and the world simplifies. Worthy, clean and certain and unbidden. He keeps walking. He'll never know. The sorting doesn't require his participation. Then someone else. Suit jacket, cheap cologne, badge clipped wrong. A smile that says, rules are for other people. Unworthy. My pulse jumps, not fear, interest. The specific professional interest of a man looking at a case he already knows how to close. My phone buzzes. I don't wait. I pull it out. The screen is already awake. A name. A location. Next. Charge. I look up. The unworthy man is still there, halfway down the hall, walking away from whatever he's done and whoever he's left holding it. I follow him. Charge. Measure. Seal. Purge. I say it under my breath without meaning to. The same 4 steps. The same clean shorthand Callahan gave me in a break room 20 years ago like it was a gift. Maybe it was. Maybe that was always the problem.
And that was Winged Shadow. Grant Hale spent 20 years being certain he was not Callahan. He was right about that, technically. Callahan never got a mark filed on his palm. Callahan just had the old-fashioned kind of certainty. The kind that doesn't need a shadow to sign off on it. Hale got the upgrade. If you enjoyed tonight's story, subscribe for more, leave a like, and share it with someone who appreciates the darker things. New original horrors from Macabre Miscellanea arrive every week. Until next time, remember, a workflow is just a ritual with better branding.